Hey there guys, it's Colin Burnett coming to you from off my girlfriend's couch over here in Germany. I'm not sure if you've been watching any of my other videos at the moment, but yeah, I normally shoot them off my girlfriend's couch here in Germany. Having a great time over here. Beautiful summer here at the moment. It's the warmest summer I've seen in here in Germany. I lived in Germany for 2 years, originally an Aussie, as you can probably hear from my accent. And yeah, this is definitely the best summer that's been here for a while. If you've been watching some of my other videos, I've been training people about how I'm building my online business, but today I just wanted to talk a bit about self-limiting beliefs, or as you'd call it, just things how people really limit themselves, and it just annoys the crap out of me how it's always like that. And so many people you see around the place that are like that, and it's just crazy. I mean, I originally come from a farm in North Queensland, Australia. I come from way out in the bush, in the outback it is, and I didn't have too bad of a childhood. As on a farm, you sort of don't have much stress, and my mum taught me school, and for primary school, and she sort of yeah, she was a good teacher and that, and we got away with being cheeky to her, and it was just really cool being a kid. And I was a couple of 100 kilometres from where the distance education centre was, and we had groups, local farmers would get together and play tennis, which is pretty common in Australian outback. And tennis is good. You only need two people to play it, and that sort of thing. So we grew up. We rode horses and rode motorbikes and drove bulldozers and stuff like that, and it was really cool. And it's like a lot of my mentors tell me now. You gradually get older and join the education system, and you start limiting yourself just because of what's coming in to your ears, what people are talking about all the time. And it just annoys the crap out of me how that's the whole time. And you get people say they're winning because they get a job, they get a promotion, or they're at uni, and they're going to get a high-paying job sometime in the next 10 years. In the meantime, they're paying through the nose. That sort of stuff just annoys me a lot. But yeah, so I grew up, had a good childhood, went away to boarding school, and that's sort of the time when people shape. When I look back now, I was 13, quite naive when I went away to boarding school, and I had a good time the first couple of years. And then it sort of, things changed. About when I was 14, 15, things really changed for me. And a lot of it was because I kind of realized that, so my dad wasn't really acting normally. He was the head of our family business, and I don't know what exactly you could call it, but he definitely wasn't acting normally in society, and he started to become involved in the school, and our school had problems financially, and he was the type of person that barrages in and thinks he's got all the problems, can answer all the problems, but he typically makes a mess and then moves on and makes a mess of something else, which is true of people that don't work in teams. They don't know what it's like to run a business properly. And that was just part of it. I was young, skinny kid, 6'2", nearly 65 kilos at school, and in North Queensland you're only cool if you can play rugby league or something. And if you're strong at a boarding school, similar to that. And main trouble for me is I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was just so confused for years and years. I was just so confused, and if you know what it's like, you don't know what you want to do in life, and you just go day to day, you know, doing whatever. And what I tended to do was just sort of put on a front for people and pretend that everything was going 100%. And, when in truth, it's just, I was living a hollow life. I wasn't doing anything special. Used to, talk things up that weren't true. And gradually things like that slipped into my habits. Lying constantly is, people, some people that just, it's not blatantly lying, but just telling little fibs or excuses to yourself. And, it hurts you. It really hurts you. And doesn't tend to hurt anyone else, especially excuses. They sort of know what you're doing anyway. But, there's so many people out there that do it. And it really started to affect my life. And by the end of boarding school, I was in a mess. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I, I'd had a couple of girlfriends at the time and that sort of thing, but they weren't sort of, full term, long time sort of things. And I was only 17 years old, and I was still, I went to school in the country town. I was very insecure on the inside, didn't know what I wanted to do, all that sort of thing. I'm sure, you might have been there yourself. And eventually came a time, well, school's finished now, what do I do? And I used to feel sort of half good about myself at school because I was fairly good at athletics, and I wasn't too bad at the actual school, and I got by. But I didn't want to follow the crowd. The crowd at my school was, the whole dumb bush mental attitude. We do dumb things that are supposed to be popular, and then continue doing that in life for the rest of their life. And that wasn't something that I wanted to do. I knew that anyway. And so eventually I left school, and my dad said, well, if you don't know what you want to do, come home for a year. And of course that was, that was the start of my next chapter of life. And I went back out into the outback and worked at home for nearly 5 years. And, I wasn't paid fully, working for a family business. There was no employer, no full contract written down of employment. I was just, working for a farmer basically. And, the saying is that farmers have the oldest form of fraud because they have free workers. They have as many kids as they can, although our family was only small, but they have as many kids as they can, and they work for free, and then when they grow up they get the farm, they get, busyness. They get basically a job, full-time job, weeks and weeks and weeks of work. And so I went back home, and I was basically conned by my dad, to be blunt about it, which is true for a lot of farmers, because in the truth of the matter is my dad's not good at business, and he just would lie to himself about his business performance. But if anyone sees his books, sees his balance sheets, they'll say straight away that he's basically run amok his whole life. And my dad's pretty good at being a con man, and he was sort of half taught us that as we grew up. And it definitely rubbed off on me for a few years at school, and that I could get away from telling small fibs and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, I knew I was just lying to myself, and it wasn't, I wasn't really successful at anything. And the same thing happened when I went home, and we struggled hard. Like, when my sister got a boyfriend, my dad basically went crazy about the whole deal, and he's, whether he's mentally ill, I'm not sure, but he's just one of those old guys that some people can't relate, but he's one of those old guys that still can't show emotions. He's the old school, he's just turned 65, so he's an old school farmer in Australia. He's originally coming from England. Our family have been farmers for at least 150 years, and they've been in Australia for over 100. And so the farming's in our blood. But the truth of the matter is that he wanted to try and be successful, try and build something for himself. But at the end of the day, he's just going backwards, and he wasn't good with communicating, not good with relationships. And at the end of the day, business is just a mob of relationships all put together. And so he wasn't good at that. And that's all right, but it's really difficult to be in business for yourself when you're not good at that sort of thing. You can get away with being an employee at times and just a crazy father, but we were expected to work for him flat out and not really have any holidays. And at the end of the day, I wasn't paid for nearly 2 years before I left. And that's a simple fact of the matter. We used to, we were basically laughing stock of the whole community. One of the things, because my dad got into a weird religion and used to go around saying some absolutely crazy things, and the truth of the matter is no one ever used to pull him up. And I eventually I I, I I pulled a pin on the whole deal, and eventually I stood up for myself and I said, look, this is crazy. No one lives like this. Some people do. It's basically an aim, is sort of a childhood, and I'm not knocking those guys, but it just wasn't for me. And it was unbelievable the way the things that he probably still goes on with. And so eventually I got to a turning point. Hadn't been paid for 2 years. Had to leave the whole situation, and hadn't had a girlfriend for a while. Hadn't really learnt anything much about the outside world. And so I just left it, and I said to him, look, this is crazy. It's unbelievable what you try and do. And he's the type of guy that'll probably never understand that. But anyway, so that's my history, and I went through all that crap. I went through years and years of it, and being the laughing stock of the community, running a business that looks okay on the outside and is just completely riddled with debt, and leader at the front that's just hopeless, basically a spendthrift, but has never listened to anyone in his whole life, never had advisors, never had good mentors. It has type of person to have bad mentors that make him look good. So they're bottom feeders, they're down the bottom, and they're bad performers, and he's got people that are even worse than him hanging around him, making him feel good, which is completely opposite of what I wanted to do, and it's completely opposite of what I'm doing now. But so that's my history. Absolutely crazy sort of a childhood, and then early 20s. Eventually, I pulled the pin on all that and said, "Well, look, I'm going to do something for myself. I don't really care what you guys do now." And I left the whole situation. Had to get a lawyer to get most of the pay. I've still got a little bit of wages that have still probably be debated about, but I got basically paid for the 2 years that I didn't get paid for, which is normal. But most farmers and that don't find it normal, and then they just decide not to pay their son, and that's the end of it. So I just really stood up for myself, and I decided to stand up for our whole family and said, well, look, you can get stuff. I'm going to go do what I want to do, with my life for now. And I haven't looked back since. As I said, I'm on the couch here over in Germany with my girlfriend. She's helped me along the way heaps. I've been travelling the world as much as I can. I've been to South Africa this year. I've been to Western Australia. I still enjoy visiting farms and stuff, and still sort of got that in my blood. Just checking it out, all other people there, still struggle to realise what the real world's about. But yeah. So I just haven't looked back, and all I had to do was just to stand up for myself, and that's where these self-limiting beliefs come in. They just make you feel like you can't do anything. And I guess, well, it was a bad situation because my dad was typically quite positive for a farmer, but my mum's side is riddled with guys full of depression, and they're typically not diagnosed. So, my mum is basically a hermit that's got the depression. So she's never helped us make us feel good about ourselves, and she's one of those people that is a follower, and she's basically a victim in my dad's marriage. But so I had to get out of that environment, and once I did, it's easy. It's easy. It's like I heard a quote about, I don't know if you guys know a guy called Sonny Bill Williams. He's Aussie. Well, he's not Aussie. He's Kiwi, playing in Australia at the moment, playing in Sydney. He was a young guy who had heaps of stuff. He's a rugby league player. He had a heap of stuff for you Americans, you probably don't care, but anyway, he played rugby union league. He played for the All Blacks and the New Zealand rugby union champs, and he'd probably be back there next year actually. But some people hate him, some people love him. But he just stands up for himself the whole time, and he earns the most money as possibly can, and there's people talk about loyalty to clubs and that, and but clubs tend to kick the person out the door anyway after they try and be loyal to them and that. But anyway, he earns as much as he can, and there was a bit of a quote from him about one guy who was struggling getting going, sort of in late teens, early 20s, playing union and league and that, and he went and lived with Sonny Bill. They were living together, while they were playing and that, and he said something negative one time when they were having dinner, and SBW, the big Sonny Bill, he just said, look, I don't want to hear any more negativity in this house. And bang, that was it. And then the performances started to improve and everything started to happen. I mean, it's just logic. And but it's so hard for so many people to do that. And for me, it was hard for years. I sat at home feeling really sorry for myself for the whole time. I had this dad kind of working me like a slave, and then mother making me feel like I was completely useless. So it's not a bad combination, but they say you can choose your friends and not your family, and since that time I've just got out of the whole deal, and I've had friends from back then too that I've had to just cut off because they've at the end of the day they just bring you down, and it's a typical Aussie thing. It's a tall poppy syndrome. Aussies are really bad for it. As soon as one guy pops his head up and gets a bit of success, they really bring him back down. That's my mum's whole family story, her whole side of the family. It's just completely shocking like that. But so I just in this video I want to say your past isn't your future. You can do whatever you want to do. I was just thinking the other day, I've got to go to London in 2 weeks and do a uni exam. I do uni part-time. I'm not actually a fan of uni, that's a whole other story, but I do it part-time as a bit of a hobby, and I like to learn about the economy. I just like to learn as much as I can in my 20s. 20s will make me, and not always has to be 20s, but it's so easy because you haven't got a wife and kids depending on you for income. You've got a bit of time to really get educated and work out what you want to do, and then start heading in the right direction, which is exactly what I'm doing. And so I've got to go to London, and I've got to get a plane over, go into catch a train into town, catch a tube, go into exam, come back. I'm actually flying back to Cologne and going and meeting my girlfriend up there, which is fucking it's awesome. And I just wanted to say that only 3.5 years ago, I would have never done that. I couldn't fly overseas. I flew over with my girlfriend. I met my German girlfriend in Australia, and I just was paralysed with fear of travelling. I was a country boy. I'd never even lived in a city. When I was left school, I had the opportunity to go to uni in Townsville, in a town that's about 150,000 people. I was too scared to. That was the truth. I didn't know what I would do in such a big city, and since in the last 3.5 years, I've just conquered all those fears that I've had. There's still a couple that I've got to try on, like my fear of heights. I've tried skiing once over here. That was a bit of a funny episode, I guess. My girlfriend still asks about that, but the fact is, I got there and I actually tried to conquer my fear. And a lot of them I have. My fear of big cities. I realised that I was afraid of being alone in a big city and lonely, and fear of travelling, fear of just being able to do anything on my own. And right now, you can put me anywhere in the world, and as long as I've got a bit of money on my credit card, I can find where to sleep, where to travel, where to get to, what I want to do. If I get a bit homesick over here in Germany, I can shoot straight back to Australia and go and check out the farming life, and or just go and do something else, But so I've had to cut all these people out of my life that have just been bringing me down the whole time, and they might say, I've had people in my life that say, oh, I want to be rich. I'm like, oh yeah, what are you doing about it? And they're, I've checked everything out, but haven't done anything. Nothing works. You can't do it. And I'm like, well, how come all these other guys can do it? And there's plenty of examples if you want me to go into it further. But I've had to cut those guys out, and the truth is they didn't belong in my life, and they don't belong in my life now. And it's awesome. It's cool because you haven't got these guys down, all these haters hanging around. What do you need those guys? If they haven't got the same goal as you, you shouldn't be hanging around them. And they say that average income, your income will be the average of the 5 closest people to you. Well, good for you. Make them clever. Make those people around you really smart people, and people are going to help you on your goal. And your goal might be anything. I mean, my goal is to build wealth in my life and just understand the economy and start businesses and invest, and the whole rich dad idea. I just love that. It's basically my life passion, and I didn't know I wanted that until I basically had to start traveling and started realizing what I wanted, and that was and since then it's been easy. I just know what I want, and I just work towards that every day. And it's obviously hard work. I put in a lot of hard work. I'm not saying it's, what I mean is it's actually simple. The concepts are simple, but it's not easy work. And although some businesses like my Empower Network business at the moment, I've toned back the amount I have to work in a day because my blog's heading in the right direction, which you can do. And but I just spend a bit more time doing other things like checking out the share market and working out what I think about it, and not just silly thoughts running around in your head. More, having mentors there telling you what they've done and what actually works. And I don't bother listening to anyone that hasn't got results. Like if I wanted to be a pro tennis player, would I go and listen to someone who's not any good at it, or would I go and get a good coach that's been there and done that? Like imagine being coached by Roger Federer. Right. Even if I wanted to be a pro tennis player now without much skill, only having played tennis at school, he would improve your game by 100% in such a short time, and we all know that, it's obvious. But people like that, and going back to my father, he hangs around people that bring him down, and they take him down even further, and it's embarrassing actually. And it's amazing how a lot of it is just from having a massive ego. And he taught us as kids to have a massive ego. I had an ego at 17 of bigger than some people have ever had in their lives. And he's like, oh, we own a farm, we're landholders. And he's got this old British idea of something about that. And the truth is that they just run a complete muck their whole lives. And he's never done much good in his whole life. And I hate to say it, but it's true. He's caused so much harm in his whole life. And he's basically ruined people. Which is, it's amazing. Why would you ever want to do that? But his ego doesn't let him improve himself or his business performance or his relationships or anything he wants to do in life. So all I'm saying, guys, is start facing a couple of little fears, and it's so easy to just get started. If your little world's like this and you want to improve it, just slowly bring out the boundaries. And all you have to do is just something so simple like, if you don't like going out into crowds or something like that, you can go out and check it out and just start pushing your boundaries a little bit or something like that. And like they say with Empower Network, just start doing something. Do anything. It's so, getting started is what stops most people. And that's a good quote I learned, a few days ago. And people just can't get over that edge at the start, and then it's, and then get running. And it can be with anything. I mean, Empower Network's a chance to make money online, start building a business, or just to use Empower Network blog. And the Empower Network's amazing. If you heard a story, I know an Aussie that's making quite a lot of money with Empower Network. I won't say his name here, but he's an ex-plumber, and he when he first got into the online business, he got scammed out of a bit of money, and the head guys at Empower Network ended up giving him the products for free because they're there to help people. That's what they started Empower for. And if you see the leaders of Empower Network, that's what they're doing, and they're putting the money where their mouth is. But Empower Network's a chance to get started online and make a bit of extra money, depending on what you're doing. If you're like me, traveling the world, you can work your business from wherever you want. And I've started making money with these guys, and it's just amazing how much, I start to talk to guys, and then even my YouTube videos are just free training to help people out, get started, do something. You know, it's only a year ago or so, or less, 6 months really, that I couldn't have shot a video like this. I was too embarrassed, you know, I was too kind of self-shy. But anyway, eventually I just started doing it, and then like David Wood says, once you've done half a dozen or a bit more, maybe you just lose the whole problem with it, and just start doing it. But and just starting to get your story out there and information and start helping people. And I just love it, enjoy it so much. You can talk to people from all over the world, chat to them online, help them out with their business if they want a blog. Empower Network bringing out a top blog soon, and they've already got a blog, but they're bringing out EN version 2, which is they're bringing out their own blog, and it's just going to be amazing how much, you know, their site's ranked down so much already, but some people are just going to start making, you know, a handy amount of money, and obviously you got to be careful that the average, you know, with the if you're watching this video, you won't be average anyway. You'll be someone who wants to really get started, get in, just make it happen like I do, you know. Just work hours if you have to, sleep whenever you feel like sleeping, and then just get up and work it. And if your girlfriend wants you to do something, just say, look, I need a couple of hours to get this done. It's happening. This is my whole future, you know. I'm only 26 now, and it's, you know, by the time I'm 30, I want to be a millionaire. I've told plenty of people that, and by the time I'm in my 50s, I want to be much more than that. But I just mainly want to be a better person. I want to be more rounded, more educated. I want everything like that, and I want to help people on my way too. And you know, I know I've got things to learn, and obviously you never stop learning. But it's just amazing how, you know, I've got, here's my uni. I only do one subject well, 4 subjects a year, macroeconomics, and you know, you mightn't be interested in that at all, but that tells me a bit about how the whole Australian economy works, you know, with the interest rates, and why, you know, people make money and some people lose when the Australian dollar's high and that. And I'm like, well, you know, that's just going to help me understand the world better. But you know, my main interest is investing, and that mightn't be yours, but I'm doing that. You know, for years I wouldn't have done that. I just didn't do it. I couldn't do it. I would have said no, I'll fail or something like that. But yeah, so eventually I just jumped in, and I just haven't looked back from that sort of thing. And I look forward to the next few years of just really setting myself up. And I've got a couple of good mentors online now, which is so good to have. You know, you need someone to really help you along the way, and just show your way. It's basically like some people have a father that will really show them in the right direction, even if, say, your father was an engineer and you want to be too. It's just perfect, you know. He's the perfect role model for you. And for other people, that might be their friend's dad, or, you know, eventually you can find mentors. You can find plenty of mentors out there now, and the internet actually helps you with that, because it's, you know, we're in the information age, and supplying information can also make you a lot of money. But yeah, so that's my story, guys. Just get out there and just get into life. I mean, I've just sent out a list, email to my list about, you know, I've just been riding down the back of my girlfriend's motorbike around Germany at the moment. It's harvest time, the sun's out, just delish. You know, it's just great weather, and yeah. So that's it for me today, guys. If you want to jump in with me, if you want to check out my blog, I'll put the link under this video. And yeah, just get out there, just get started, and we'll see what happens. You know, feel free to have a look at my other videos, check out my blog, and if you want, jump on my email list, and I'll send you my travel, what I'm traveling. I'm about to head up north Germany, and to London, as I said, and then probably over Croatia or something like that, and then maybe, you know, later on back to Australia. But you know, if you want something, just go out there and get it. And there's plenty of people there to help you. You know, I help people online already, and plenty of other people out helping people out there at the moment. And you know, that's it. Just go out there and get it, and you'll do it. You'll do it. And I believe in you. Catch you later.